First off, want to apologize for getting this video out late. It's coming out on a Friday. It usually comes out on a Thursday, right after Impact goes off air. But this was a super busy and crazy Thursday. Had a lot to do. Had a live stream with talking about Evolve. Shout out to Regan Reacts, EOD Wrestling, and For Real to Real, CJ Wolfie, talking about Evolve with them and the Invisible Woman as well. And then I recorded a video, which will be out before this, with Abby, Jaquel, Black Couch Booking, and Rage Man Red. Shout out to the family, shout out to everybody that I did collabs with yesterday on Thursday. So I'm getting this recorded around midnight, and this will be out at 12 in the afternoon, maybe, yeah, 12 in the afternoon. But just to get the housekeeping out the way. But make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and as I always do, recaps of TNA Impact every week. I'll get back. It'll be on Thursday next week. I doubt that I doubt that I'm doing anything next Thursday. So it'll be back to regular schedule next week. But to get into it, the first match was Sami Callihan versus Eric Young. Wasn't a fan of this match. Northern Army got involved a lot. And I'm just a guy who doesn't like interferences a lot, especially when it's egregious, when it's like a lot and it's unnecessary. Like some of it, it was like, okay, I understand some of it, but then it got to a point where it was just a dragon. Eric Young ended up winning, but the match was just, even the match itself was bad, and the interference didn't help it. The interference didn't make it any better. And one more housekeeping thing, because I'm recording this so late and had so much to do, I'm not editing this one the same way I edit some of my other videos that I've been doing since the last WWE Saturday Night's main event, where I had the pictures and stuff on the side, and no edits for this one, just raw and uncut. So moving on to the next segment, Order 4. It was an Order 4 summit, and Ali, he talked to Tasha Steelz. I really hate the way that Ali is treating Tasha Steelz. I mean, I get it for the storyline, but he continues to trash her and went through her phone talking about not to call him. So I don't know who this person is. Maybe this is the guy that comes next week, and maybe it's somebody new debuting, maybe it's somebody making a return, but I don't know who it could be. And then he talked to Jason Hodge. Jason Hodge wasn't really going for it, but he did end up apologizing. So did Tasha Steelz, which kind of hurts his character, because either have him fully be invested with Ali, or have him don't apologize, don't do nothing. But John Scholar was the one that stepped up to Ali. Yeah, he was the one that showed, and he was the one that wasn't going for any of that. So I like that John Scholar was able to stand up for his teammate and Jason Hodge, and for Tasha Steelz. And so I did. The segment started off kind of weak, but it picked up throughout, and it was actually a really good segment for the most part. Then you had Killer Kelly. She cut a promo. She won Masha Slamovich championship. She was like, she don't want to be forgotten now that they just split up as a tag team. How Masha took all the spotlight since she done left. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if Masha's going to win, if she's going to lose, because Masha's been looking super dominant this year. So it's hard to predict when she's going to lose. So I think they had a match. I hope it's not on an Impact. They should put that on a Slammiversary, unless they do a number one contenders match and Killer Kelly wins to make it a title match at Slammiversary. But that's definitely a Slammiversary match. Then you had the Elegance brand take on Lei Ching Lee and Masha Slamovich, which I didn't understand, was you had an inspiration who just came back. You have Myla Grace and Harley Hudson, who never got a tag team championship match. And so it's like you have two tag teams, one you just brought in and one that just came back, and you have the Elegance brand wrestling Lei Ching Lee and Masha Slamovich with no backstory, none of that. Like, none of that was explained. So I'm just kind of confused on how we got to this match. So that already brought the rating down for me a little bit with that. And then you had this weird thing about Google Translate. I guess Ash was trying to understand something. Then she had her phone. She was getting into an argument with Lei Ching Lee and Masha Slamovich. And I was like, can we just get to the wrestling? Like, this is something you do before or after the match. But having a phone is not part of your gimmick. So I don't get why do that during the middle of the match because that didn't fit into her gimmick at all. I was just confused. Uh, Killer Kelly did come out there to cause the distraction, and Ash by Elegance would end up pinning the Knockouts World Champion in Masha Slamovich. She could get a title match, but Masha's going to retain anyway, so it's really no point in doing it. But yeah, that happened. So Masha took the pin for whatever reason, even though you could have had Late Team Lee do it because they were both distracted the same way. But you had the segment with the inspiration backstage that was letting, they just said they're watching that they coming for those titles. So we'll see what happens with that. Because I do, the inspiration being back is great for the tag team division. Next, you had Santino Marella come out there. He spoke on some stuff. Mike Santana's going to make his return next week and battle AJ Francis in a street fight. He brought out Tommy Dreamer, talked about the stuff with Mance Warner. And then Mance Warner and Stephanie Lander came out there. And Stephanie Lander was like, it's past your time, this and that. And Tommy Dreamer was like, I know it might be past my time, but that don't mean I don't still have no tricks up my sleeve. That's essentially what he said. Then Jake something made his return, and he laid out Mance Warner. Well, not laid him out, but he took him out with like a clothesline. Then him and Steph Delanter had to evacuate. So uh, Jake something came back in a dominant role, the enforcer for Tommy Dreamer. Because maybe Tommy Dreamer, he might have a match this year, but he probably got to get an in-ring shape because they know that can take a while. So we'll see what happens with that. But Jake something versus Mance Warner, I'm actually interested in that. Jake something should get the win there with him just coming back, and I think it'll help him. It just depends on the type of match they have, because I don't see them doing multiple matches with these two. Maybe they could. Maybe Mance Warner brings somebody else in, and that's how Tommy Dreamer has to fight as well. But we'll see. The Indy Hartwell and Tessa Blanchard segment was actually really good, and it was some stuff that I ain't realized because I ain't realized they essentially came up, not like came up together, but Indy Hartwell got started because of Tessa Blanchard because she helped put it on the map. I ain't know some of that, so now from what happened last week to this week, it makes a little bit more sense with Tessa Blanchard just punching Indy Hartwell during that match, and then to where they're at now with Indy Hartwell approaching her backstage and Tessa Blanchard saying, "You just walked over my back and didn't give me any respect or credit." Then Indy Hartwell, she was like, "I'm finally starting to see what other people see in you." And so I like this dynamic. This could be a cool number one contenders match for the Knockouts Championship. Obviously, Tessa Blanchard already had her chance, her shot at the title. So I like to see Indy Hartwell win and become the champion. And she had the opportunity last week, and she didn't get to win in the four-way. But I get why Killer Kelly advanced because she got a story already. So you don't want to rush that. And you have, and this is already one of the top stories because Tessa Blanchard is one of the top heels in TNA. Not just women, but one of the top heels. So you putting her in this, you're putting Indy Hartwell in a great position to succeed because obviously Tessa Blanchard gets heat, obviously from real life stuff, but she still gets, but it's still a good spotlight to put Indy Hartwell in going up against her, where there's no way she can be booed. Because if you put her against Masha Slamovich right now, do you really want to do a face versus face when you have somebody who's an established top star there versus the newcomer to the brand? Not that she's new to wrestling, but she's new to TNA, so you don't want to put yourself in that position. So I get why they're having her feud, her biggest feud, to be with Tessa Blanchard. And then she already did stuff with Tasha Steelz, who's a former knockout champion. But it don't get much bigger than Tessa Blanchard when it comes to the women's division. Then you had Eddie Edwards and JDC take on Matt Cardona and a mystery partner of his choosing, which will be the hometown man, aka Cody Deaner, who had a new gimmick as the hometown man from Arizona. So that's the only time we're gonna see him when he's in Arizona. But I like this. I like this gimmick they got for him. The system very frustrated. The system interfered multiple times, but the interferences weren't egregious in this match. Like it happened. They interfered like twice, which is surprising because I thought they would interfere more. But the interferences was actually pretty limited on this. JDC it was one spot where he tripped over the ropes doing, I forgot what move it was. Luckily he was all right, and luckily he landed safely because that could have been scary. You had the hometown man. Like early in the match, he got some good offense in. on both Eddie Edwards and JDC. Uh, the hometown man did the sliced bread to Eddie Edwards, which was really impressive. And he looks a lot more comfortable. Like, obviously, Cody Deaner, hometown man, same person. But he looks a lot more comfortable in this new character and new role. And he's actually starting to get wins. He even ended up rolling up Eddie Edwards for the win. So him and Matt Cardona got the win. They got jumped post-match, and the system still weren't able to get the mask off. But the hometown man is undefeated. He's 2-0, both in tag team matches, when Cody Deaner hasn't won in over a year. So Cody Deaner got released, but the hometown man is here. So, but I like what they're doing with it. I actually enjoy this. I think it's good for Cody Deaner. Show some character development. Hopefully, when he is unmasked, it's him winning the championship or something like that. People may say it's a copy of WWE. I don't see it as that. Because the thing with Chad Gable and El Grande is like they're on screen at not at the same time. Like, you're not gonna see them at the same time, but you will see them on the same show, or you will see them in the same day. Like, they don't acknowledge Cody Deaner unless it's on commentary. So the announcers refer to him as the hometown man. So I'm cool with it. I have no problems with it. I like this. Then you had the main event, the Champions Challenge, and it was pretty obvious how this match was going to end, with the Rascals, Leon Slater, Elijah, and Joe Hendry taking on Steve Macklin, the Nemeth brothers, Moose, and Hollywood Trick. Now, this was interesting from the start because Trick Williams, he dapped up Ryan Nemeth, then he went to Nick, and he extended his fist like this, then Nick, he was like, nah, then he just scooted back a few steps, and I was like, this is actually really good, because even though they're both heels, I like how it plays into the realism of how he doesn't like the fact that an outsider has the championship, and that the fact that WWE isn't even acknowledging him. So why should he acknowledge a WWE superstar? So I agree with Nick Nemeth for not dapping him up. I don't even think it's a slight against Trick Williams, because Trick Williams is great. I think Nick Nemeth recognizes that. But as a guy who was in WWE for the longest, doing some great stuff, doing whatever you asked him to, it's like you don't acknowledge him, and you have somebody from the outside win our championship. So I get it. Because like I said, I don't think Nick Nemeth is mad at Trick Williams specifically, but no matter who it is, I don't think he would have dapped him up, because it's like that is kind of dirty and disrespectful. And then throughout the match, with Steve Macklin being the only face on that team, it's like the tags was like certain people didn't want to tag him in, certain tags were rough, or it was not, or aggressive. I think that's the better word than rough. But yeah, the Rascals did a double moonsault, not in sync, but it's hard to pull off moves like that in sync. My hair is itching like crazy. I can't wait to go to sleep. But nobody really wanted to tag in for Steve Macklin, because they're all heels. Frankie Kazarian was on commentary doing a great job. In a 10-man tag team match, it's hard for certain people to really get their stuff off. Like Joe Hendry, he got his stuff off on Trick, but he wasn't legal at the time. So when he did get in the match, he didn't do much of anything but his finish on Ryan Nemeth. Like, it wasn't a bad match by any means, but in a 10-man tag team match with this much talent, it was hard for everybody to really get their stuff off, especially in, like, they had 23 minutes, so that's really limited time for a 10-man tag team match. But they made it work. It was a good match. But 10-man tag team matches usually are supposed to go longer than this, because it gives more time for people to really get their stuff in. But overall, I give Impact an 8 out of 10. It was another great episode. I think I gave last week an 8 out of 10 as well. TNS been doing some great stuff. I enjoyed this week's episode. Make sure y'all leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment and share as well. But yeah, let me know what y'all thought of tonight's Impact, or last night's Impact, and what rating y'all would give it.